claims. So one of the main claims that a lot of people are asking about is cows and plows. So we'll get started. So the purpose of today's presentation, so it's an update on your claims. So John says, I want to share the latest progress on 5 important claims that affect your nation. These include the agriculture benefits claim, also known as cows and plows, the timber claim, the Treaty 6 annuities claim, the Indian Reserve 106 timber surrender, bombing range claim, and national parks claim. I also wish to discuss potential new claims. So she says your questions matter. So my apologies for not being there in person. I value the wisdom and experience of the elders, and your input helps guide the leadership as we work through these important matters. Your voice shapes the path forward for our nation. So this one is the agriculture benefits claim, which everyone knows as cows and plows. First part here is December 2024 decision. So it hasn't been a year yet, but this is when Montreal Cree Nation agreed to enter accelerated negotiations with the Government of Canada regarding this important claim. This decision was shared with all members at the time. So this was the first letter that was sent out last December, 11 months ago. Okay, so the next part, what happened next? A federal negotiator was appointed. So Canada has appointed a federal negotiator to work with us on this file. Irma Murdoch, who is a band member of Montreal, she was appointed as our negotiator. However, negotiations have now stalled due to the federal election. Active lobbying efforts are taking place. So I just want to update on that federal election so people are aware, our elders are aware of why this federal election is important and what it's doing to our claims process. So what happened is the election started in April for the federal government, and when this happened, they put our claim on hold. So we're supposed to go into negotiations. So we got put on hold. Anyways, after the federal government was elected in, it was just on November 4th last week that the federal government put out a federal budget. So this federal budget needs to be passed by 174 members of parliament. Still today, this budget was not passed. So what that means is if this budget doesn't pass by next week, it's going to be a brand new federal election. So we're waiting on the federal government right now again. So what we're doing is we don't know if they're going into an election yet, but we're just waiting and seeing. So that what we did was Montreal Chief and a few council, we traveled to Ottawa last month, and we went and we met with the minister, and we went and advocated again and said, we're still waiting for negotiations to continue. The federal government said they are going to move on with this process. We're waiting. So she did let us know that Rebecca Alty is committed to completing this process with us. So what happens now is trust planning is underway. So what Chief and Council are doing, as well as Agriculture Benefits Committee, they're continuing to meet with First Nations Bank Trust. So First Nations Bank Trust are 100% Indigenous, and they are our appointed corporate trustee who will help manage the claim settlement. So there's an important notice that I can't read the end. So setting up the trust agreement is a detailed process that requires substantial time and careful planning. This work is essential to ensure the settlement proceeds benefit your community properly We intend to share what we have learned and seek the membership's advice on trust-related matters, including how the settlement money should be used. So that is something we are working on right now as council and committee. Even though we're still waiting on the government, we're like, well, we're going to continue doing our work. We have quite a few people in this room who are also on that committee. And once we have some type of plan, we are bringing it to the membership, because nothing will happen, nothing can happen until a vote comes from all members. So I just want to let everybody know that. That is what we have for our Cows and Clouds update. John is really wanting your questions. So if you have any questions, now is your time, because we need your advice and your wisdom. So. Are you recording theirs? Okay, theirs still has his camera going, so we'll have this sent to our bad lawyer. We have two questions here. First one. Oh, okay, sorry. Who else? Elizabeth?
So we just have a waiting period for the members, and what I heard is that they would be
Mark for life.
You're good for one free beer at the dance.
Right on that.
Give me 8 of them.
So we just have to wait for how long do we wait?
Yeah, for tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so her question is, how long do we wait for until the federal election is done? The answer is we don't have that answer for the federal government. So once we do get an update, then we go back into our negotiations meetings, we will provide an update.
So there's not going to be no, what they do in Iran, they nominate
Like a vote? Okay, so for the voting process, the Rons did do the voting process, and that was once they completed their negotiations. So we're not completed our negotiations. So, but once we are, that is going to be our process. Anybody else? Any questions? I see hands over here.
One on each.
Good afternoon. I just want to clearly understand, I'm sure some people also as well, that QM agricultural benefits, QM cows and plows. What is that? All we know is there's a lot of money coming. We keep asking for it. We keep waiting. But really, what is cows and plows? What are the benefits? What happened? How come we're getting so much money if we get it? But it's that's the next big thing that's coming to us. Probably the last one as well. But we're all waiting.
We're trying to speed up the process.
Somebody want to answer that? I'm kidding. I will answer that. So agriculture benefits, it's one of the treaty rights that was negotiated, in 1889, February 11th, was that somebody stated they wanted agriculture benefits they wanted agriculture. I guess it wasn't even called agriculture benefits. There was a word for it. I can't remember the correct term right now. But what the goal of this treaty right is so that our members could farm, because during this time, 1889, the leaders back then already seen that other non-indigenous people were farming, and they said, we want that too. We want our kids and the future generations to farm as well. So in order for us to farm, we need you to give us, so they gave us a shovel, they gave us a plow, they gave us, I can't remember what else they gave us. Twine. That's a separate one. The goal of it was to be able to create employment, to create sustainability with funding, and to create sustainability with food sovereignty. So that's the reason behind it. But they failed to do it. They failed to provide everything that was needed to ensure that we had good farming, good sustenance with food, and good sustenance with economic development. So that is why, we had leaders, I think it was 2016 or 2015 when they started pushing for, you failed to do this, you need to compensate for it. So that is why, today we're waiting on it and other reserves are receiving their funds. I hope that is some clarity. If somebody wants to translate that in Cree, by all means. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, right there.
I guess it's kind of premature in a way, but one of the concerns or things that I've heard from some of our community members is the band going to get a cut from this once everything is settled, or how are they going to divvy up this money? But I think I know the answer to that, but go ahead.
Okay, so the question is the band going to be taking a cut from this 1,000 plows once we receive it? The answer for that is we did not create the plan yet. So, but once this plan is done, it is up to the band members to say, yes, this is what we want to do. Because what we are seeing, I'm just going to give information from other nations right now. Other nations are giving out a certain portion to each individual, but they are also giving a portion to the nation, and where they're going to use it for economic development or food sovereignty. Because those are kind of one of the things that the reason behind this claim. So one of the things is also infrastructure, because a lot of nations don't have certain buildings or services. So some nations are agreeing and saying, yeah, we want some of this money to build this on our nation. The other thing is some nations are allocating funds from cows and plows to purchase land off reserve, which their goal is to put it onto, add it to reserve land. So that is another thing what they are doing. So we're kind of just learning right now on, well, what are other nations doing right now? And we're looking at our woodland Cree communities, which is PBCN and LaRange. So that's as much as I can give you right now, but as I said earlier, our Dan lawyer will be looking at these answers and he can tell me whether I said it right or wrong after. Any other questions? Hands up. Oh, right here.
I know the negotiations are still going on, but about the ones that are passed on. And Tomorrow, I'm not here. Who's going to be monetizing this? I think that's just a quick question. I was asking, gabi tumagot, kita na magat ko. At pinipiyag, istan. Huwag na tagatsit na. Kumusto sa agad. I'm sorry. I practiced all that, but I can't remember what I said about we got that. Uwi na nagtagatid na isipin na the next 2 minutes na put na biyahe. Uwi na tagatid na. Iwanan pagaya. Nagka-request ko tayo yung mga mas naiisip questions. Mga nasa daw sa PG mo. Yes.
Oh, good afternoon. Answer yan. Ako Jennifer. Musto sa mas na yan. Kumusto sa mas na yan. I just want to say the questions that you're asking. There's a group, benefits group, agricultural group that's made up by the lands committee. Those things haven't gone out. Those things haven't been decided yet. In the end, you're the people. You're the people that are going to be deciding what kind of questions. Where's that money going to? Somebody gave me the $209 million, and we said no, because if we had accepted that money before the election, you wouldn't have been able to get anything. And what we said, we want at least 30,000 per person. And that's why we rejected that, and that's why the negotiations are happening, because that wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough for us. Otherwise, you would have been able to receive a small portion. And we also, at the same time, Laurence, with the Pelicaneros, after cows and plows, next time there was and drugs, and we learned from that. We're trying to plan. Sometimes, the Creator has a plan for all of us. The Creator plans things that in a way, so it gives us time to plan. Because we want the best for our elders, we want the best for our members. That is a plan. Some of our people are incarcerated for years and years. Legally, because they're band members. Doesn't matter where you are, you're still a band member. You're still eligible for your money. And even the ones that are unborn, your chinchins, those are the ones we have to think about that. And so when this was planned, it started from Treaty 8, Treaty 6, and we're not the last ones. There's other bands that are still waiting. We still are waiting for the government. But it's us. We have a committee already. Committee from Little Red, from the urban, and also from Montreal Lake. Yes, those are the ones that are going to be going from meeting to meeting to meeting. They need 3 meetings in order for them to pass. So that's why they're mentioning this. Before things come up, and it is true, Carol and I went to Ottawa 3 weeks ago, and we went to present this, because we're not sitting back. At the same time, Christmas Christmas time, one turkey is nothing. But you know what, Christmas time, that's when we, because of the advertisement, because of our children are spoiled, our children want this and that. A lot of the times, we don't even have the money to buy this and that. So that's what. The committee will decide. What's going to happen. If you pass on, there's some people that signed up already that are passed away already. What happens is not, the committee will decide whether the money goes to the family members. Because we don't know that. If you have a word, yeah. For example, like almost done. We're meeting next week. I think they'll still decide that.
Batteries.
That was part of negotiation. It wasn't given to us. That was part of negotiation that was given to us. Some guns studying it. And I think just to clarify that. So I think we're having another meeting in a couple of weeks, and we depend on this group of people. So that's with our elders, someone. I know Nancy Roseman is part of it. With all the meetings, 3 meetings, dialogue, and from there, that's where you need your voice. That's where you have to biggest what we dealt with Midland as a bank, we dealt with the First Nations Bank, and that's the bank that we're going to be working with. That's how far we've come. We've had a lot of meetings. We're not sitting back. We're negotiating. I mean, we keep going to Ottawa. We keep writing letters. So we're not stopping by. We're trying to do everything we can to make this happen for you guys. So don't pass on within 2 hours. For 2 minutes is silent. I want to know
Okay, so that question is now documented about, what happens when someone passes away. So we have it documented, and we'll try to get a better answer there. But really, it's up to membership what they want. What do they want to do?
That is correct. It'll be up to the membership to decide. So one of the things I would like to see for us to do is when we have a gathering like this with our elders, why don't we ask them then what their thoughts are on what we want to do when this comes about, because the longer we wait, the more of our elders will be leaving us. So we could kind of somehow, begin that process to let them know, get them more informed, instead of waiting for negotiations, instead of waiting for the committee to get together. How about something like this? They come here, they do presentations to the elders, or in our communities, they kind of start that stuff so that our elders are more informed. One of the things that I see that might be kind of hard to do, if some of our elders are not into that kind of thing, that Schutzmann wills, they call them wills. And people have a hard time, the way that we are, we don't come to a lot of money in one shot, not too many times in our lives. Only if we get lucky at the casino, I guess. But what I'm trying to say is it's beneficial and helpful to your family if you as an elder, or you don't even have to be an elder, if your family can do a will and put people kind of responsible for what happens when you're gone. Because someday all of us will be gone, and we need to set ways, what we leave behind for those, for our families. So, please.
Do we have any other questions? Way over there. Do you want to come up? And then we'll move on to the next claim. There's no questions after this.
Well, I just wanted to ask, Joyce had mentioned something about Christmas benefits. Is there anything coming to the people, like for the children, the families that have no money?
I just answer that question. I keep on the Christmas man. Usually man I get the magis tickets at no they can't buy stuff like that. It's one of the hardest struggles during Christmas time. Because being some of the bands are doing with their pounds of blouse. Biscuits yata to Sonia so biscuits yata to Sonia so you go man at Christmas time you meet that tick man Sonia they're all their band members. Like they put money aside so during Christmas time when they know the struggles are on, that's when everybody gets paid. They get their part of the money. Sasto bank this time. Sasto bank but it's done accordingly. And so when it's Christmas time, I guess during this summertime, but I have to say maybe it's again. That's there's a lot of bands that are doing that, and I just want to mention that could be one of the options. But in the end, it's not up to chief and council to decide those things. Like I said, it's up to you guys how you want to see our money when we get our money. So you have a lot of things to plan. So that's, Nick and I, we're your leaders, but at the same time, you guys are the ones, it's your voice that matters.
Diego, I just want to make a comment. I'm going to get off the idea. Kanaka toki ako o te niga, e moi sa style counterpart 기체가티 Uskaya saro kusrenanak kucapananak ate situacionisnak questo naego perché nessuno saro io venare toga modera to ate mantonidito questo naego svita ave come dire io perché sia umatni gano ratna swabo ratna tamago kaus kichigati kita maya dan sigas kita maya mulu sima wasun ya gitu kasna ya gitu iga sima tapi nisna ya kedua itu kami apa ya iga kita kita misal bahwa dia ni kan uskaya tapi sisa kita asko kapma tu sekarang tu itu mesti kan Betina, no le que eso te queda lo mismo, nada. Y ahora esto me queda una atascada, mafia. Y ahora porque nada, tú que y se haga otra manera, lo vamos a tomar. Nancy gas como han tenido tomar, y gas astísima por eso va a tomar uno. Y sí, haga otra manera, te pido de un día, y que visto una olla, que tiene su manera de investigar. Kisku ke usi swabak ma mansigas monta ya mansigas ki swasko ya ek setri
Katapskat no gakyo tagapi Mari sananto notis Big Square na 40,000 house Ustahe ay sinor kayo skuta Maruman Michito Kite, not everybody's here today, the crowd that was here yesterday. Egi ko swapis niya, nagok Michito Kite, Itaguche, Montreal, Little Red, and the other communities. When the treaties were signed, October, this promise was made, this thousand plus as we call it today, Kiswiti, Tigratino, the government had failed to do that. And all these years, kaya swap may kukukota kay Tea, kapit sigit-git. Kape, gipigit yung mga istik. Ikut mati isutik. Ikut mati hatok tawa sumswa. Little log houses, ipumuigit. Ika government inagatong katuts. These old people, they deserve that money. They've been waiting it for a long time. Tapoy mi asin, mi nagtawas ng snog, o suminog, mi sa kasinggit, yung tawag, kapiskitas, tama. Maga, the old people deserve their money. They've been waiting it for a long time. We all go here so at the master dancing, and respond not to so niya mo. Mo na kinuismitin ka mayaki. Ito ba ni hayaki kitiyay. Et nas duktit. Ya koma kamantunihtamik. The chief and council. Hakiam wiawa kapampay tamaso surya mo. Wiawa kawita suatas. Tansi sintawita. Because they deserve their money. They've been waiting for it for years and years and years. And it is time for them to relax a little bit and to enjoy the little bit of things that they can afford out of that. We are all. Kusonia mo. Mura ya kakitipita mo. Nagsipagawito
Thank you for your comments. I do want to say, is there any other questions? I'm sorry, our other microphone is not working, so.
Hi, my name is Nancy Bird, and I would like to talk to some of the elders here about what can we do for those people can we build something for them that they can go bike on? The ones that are doing crystal meth and the ones that are doing drinking? Is there any way that we can help these people? Or are we just going to stand and watch it fall down? I asked this before too, and I'm asking again if there is anything that we can do in the future for these people. You know, we can't just let them walk down the road and watch it fall. We can't. We love these people. They're our family too. We got to do something about it with them now. If I have to, then I'll do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a good question. She asked, what can we do for those that are, involved with crystal meth? How can we help them? That is again up to membership. Like if you wanted to allocate some of those funds from here to a facility like that, that is possible. But it's once again up to membership what is agreed on. So we have another question, and it's she's making her way up. I'll try to come as close as I can. And I want to say thank you all for sitting here, because these are really important questions you're asking, and it's really good to have these discussions.
Okay. Mas quando se liga a nome Mary Smith, ito na niya med soon. Men vi måste få de här svårigheterna. Den har såna med soon. Den lever i Iriskina Magoya Administrative Minister. I women disipito and two people. One must celebrate that. Even a pito and the Edna. In the street and Madame would not be able. It's a boom, how there. He saw that's it. He get the marry now, he drink war. It's a tea water. Tea water. Tea water. He got two thousand. He was in a beer when I saw me a hospital. Kita kami di mua ida kita sekecil biru. Often sor, tapi ya semua pun kau rispada. Ya bukan tanam si doktor, tanam domino ya. Kita tanam modal. Kita biskisna tanam domino. Kita kau ni di sana. Ya buku, karena sebagai orang mana. Ibu sih mudi nanti kaki simita wama. Ibu sih soal misalnya ini. Tiga meni kuiskian, orang pitosskian. Tiga macam orang dia bersabun macam itu. Beda macam. Dia cerita betawi. Dia macam. Dia ada ni pun. Dia buat macam. Så där är skrita namn. Sagara på dispartei. Det är duktig. Jag vet inte inte mig. Inte duktig. Här på kitchen i bilen. Inte duktig på skiten. Det är fyra här när han går. Jag blir skart och någon så där har inte möjligt och så man. Aku mana moyanga, tapi biskuit tak Tidak buki midos. Ibu sakit now, kaya kaya ciponi tak tahu cahaya ko, kini ni now. Istri minabu itu umahan school. Ibu minabu sulit no. Itu aku bersih kaji. Kaya Cadena de Guarana mesmo, mucho gusto. No traje que which I hope of no sé. Tiene.
Thank you. Got a question here or a comment? Discussion item, either or. There's the hot seat. Just kidding, you can stand.
Good afternoon. Melinda Nitsligason. Iwa didn't because I'm just keeping it as a new patio. That's between me and my mom. I just want to say, I'm so thankful that we have this gathering, and it's long overdue. Iba miti that's no yo nakaskola igai skiga which is really sad. Iga skiga chikitin minawa. But inanas ko mo ano nigan yo igo tatuskiwa tuwa namistahiya tuskicha. Atau itu mana? That's not true. When you speak it in a vacancy, is at the kitchen. So, I just want you guys to know that. Yeah, but more than that, kita pag-aantay sila, our leaders. They're only doing what they can do. They're not millionaires, they're not multi-millionaires, and so you just have to be understanding. And one more thing, mula bata yan. This is not an election speech. I'm too old to run anyway. So, everybody, don't forget to thank your leaders. Be appreciative of them. And consider the work they have to do. And be thankful that somebody is doing for us. Guess what would happen if we didn't have leaders? There would be total chaos. Nothing would be what's that word? No one is new. That's evaluate. But that's okay. I think you guys know where I'm coming from. You see, that's all I wanted to say. I want people to love each other, be kind to each other, and igapawin kataga tasas tagarisur Maria. That's not the reason why we were put on earth, is to be getting angry with each other all the time. So just be kind. It helps a lot. You don't know what the next person is going through. So for all intents and purposes, just be kind to everybody, even if you don't like them. Yours.
Thank you, Linda. Gerald, did you hear that? I don't know, it's everybody.
Do we have any more questions? Good? Okay, we'll go on to the next claim. Treaty 6 annuities claim. So what are annuities? According to Treaty 6, certain benefits were promised to be received every year. We call these benefits annuities. The most familiar example is the $5 that each member receives annually, with $15 for counselors and $25 for the chief. Other annual provisions included ammunition, twine, and clothing allowances. These promises are to be provided in perpetuity. Oh, that's a big word. Adjusting to today's dollars. So in other treaty areas across Canada, the government is negotiating ways to update these amounts to reflect today's cost of living. This would account for inflation and the real value of money over the past 150 years. Retroactive and future application. The claim may be applied looking backward, retroactively, to compensate for past years, as well as looking forward to ensure fair payments into the future. So in our terms, it's right now we receive $5 annually. The claim is saying that we need to look back on what was $5 in 1889. What could you purchase in 1889 with $5? And I'm sure we've been told that you can purchase a lot. But right now, you can't purchase much for $5, so our goal is to see what the amount would be and go forward with this claim. So is there any questions on this claim? Because we are not, there's no other updates other than this from Dawn Shisham. But if you have any questions for Dawn, as she'll be watching this, right now is your chance. Okay.
Yeah, well, just go back. Every year I'm getting away $5. You know, band lawyer Scott that you scoop that you know $5. You need to never.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna translate, and he said he was gonna do it. I'm kidding. I wish I could speak in language fluently. Not yet.
Oh, that was your question?
Oh, that was her question. She wanted me to translate it into Cree. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, we'll go on to the next one. So this one, I guess we're still on it. Treaty 6 annuities, research and action. How many slides are on this one?
It doesn't say. There's 10 altogether, so there's probably the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only that one.
Okay. Okay, so current research phase. So this is where we are right now. This claim is in the research stage. Joan Holmes and Associate has been contracted to conduct this work. Elder interviews will need to be conducted to gather traditional knowledge and lived experiences. Other First Nations bands have launched court applications to address this matter. We are carefully monitoring their progress as we continue our own research. Councillor Charmaine had a question. Okay, next claim. So this one here is a timber claim process. So phase 1 validation is completed. So this phase is completed here. This initial phase confirmed that your claim was valid and could proceed to the next phase in the specific claims tribunal. So that part is done. So then the next stage was volume determination. We successfully established how much timber was taken from your lands. This was an important step in calculating what you are owed, and that part was completed. So now the part that we are in is phase 3, compensation. This phase is taking longer than we initially expected, but important work is happening. We have an expert report that is to be released to Canada shortly. Canada has also hired their own experts who will need time to complete their report. So the next steps for this is a tribunal hearing. Once the reports are completed, we will set a date to appear before the specific claims tribunal. This hearing will help finalize phase 3 and move us closer to resolution. So, is there another slide on this one? Okay. So there's no other slide on for the. Is there any other questions that you have that you want to give to the bad lawyer on the timber claim progress?
Now you got the screen.
Oh, right here.
If I don't put it in position regarding trap lines, timber claims, like Dean said, all our trap lines are burned. But as for us, we share one cabin. There's about maybe 6 or 7 of us that share one cabin. And the claim was set for Francis. But on this every year, ultimamente ito ay minsan mga savings ito sita moments dari ito chili ko tani sa mga trap line kagawin sa mga stika kagawin sa with my neighbors, all my neighbors, all their trap lines. Big Pogana, it's about the Hikuidi. What about those? What about us? What's going to happen to us? Like I heard Dean mention in his school that go to the bank to the oil and take PDT. When he said, I'm not Big Poganas, meet my more savings. Kagawin mamod, uichi ka. Sasabay said, while umamin no, kaya they used to help each other. Your next door neighbor, help each other, support each other. Kasi mani dito yung Edward P.D. Tinawagan ni Iska ni Timani Pisi Ustoti. Video Tabani meets the office, yes, we know you got to job their cabins. You never ever locked their cabins. If you wanted to go there, it was open, the door was open. Barry's parents, they were like, Mushroom. Who told you, Barry's parents, who told you, I get on with that. I eat what that, my relatives, one of my cousins, Lionel Bird, and his family, it's put that to the boss later, so no company, you see, come on. And we all shared it. All we did was just go there and the door was open. But we had to start locking it. We looked all everything. The receivable. The receivable. You really teach me. You come and see me. I'm just going to give you a truck and see what you want and see.
Thank you for your question. That is something we've had discussions on, and I know we've been We didn't have an answer for that one. I'm gonna say that right now. But we are working towards, how do we help all those, those cabins? That is something that is, it's a good question, and thank you for asking that question. It is something that is different from our timber claim, but something that we're working on. The chief wants to give an answer on this part. Okay.
Thank you, Eli, for your question. But this is a different case. What I what I get kisma Paskoiski, Kitchman, Little Red. This date is dated back in the 40s, 1947 Piginanta. You speak I Paskotaigi in Montreal without permission. Yeah, this is what the claim is all about. It's about but they didn't have any permission from the band, from anybody. Paskotaigi Tsigewis. And that's what this is about. It's dated back in the 40s. And it's actually shared. This is like a claim that's going to be shared with Laurent, with the lawyer, Hapatidi, okay? So, because, Little Red is such a unique community with Little Red, Montreal Lake, those in Laurent. So both bands were affected. And this is what this thing is all about. It has nothing to do with the other forests that we've lost, but we've been PAGC, we saw they've been dealing with the province to try and get help with the cabins. Montreal, we saw a few weeks ago, because the cabins, that our trappers are left alone, are left with nothing. So this is a totally different one. Anyway, Carol.
Thank you. Any other questions on this one here? Good. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So, Indian Reserve 106, timber surrender. So the discovery, your band discovered that around 1938, a timber surrender was issued for Indian Reserve 106. This situation is similar to what happened at Little Red. From your ongoing timber claim work, you know that proper procedures were not followed in many cases and laws were broken. Current status. So what is happening right now? Jonah Holmes and Associates completed a research report. We are currently evaluating the claim and preparing for a review with the Lands Claim Committee, then with Chief and Council. So what are the next steps? Once we review the initial report, once we receive and review the initial report, additional work may need to be done. This could include examining trust account records in detail and conducting a thorough analysis of the actual timber that was harvested from Indian Reserve 106. We want to ensure we have all the facts before moving forward. So that's all we have for that other Indian Reserve 106 claim. So going on to the next one is the bombing range claim. So elder knowledge. During interviews with the elders, it came to our attention that certain military activities may have been conducted on Montreal Lake lands. This traditional knowledge from the community members is extremely valuable in understanding their history. Successful precedents. Other First Nations in different treaty areas have successfully settled claims related to military activities. These settlements recognize that such activities were not properly consented to by the bands, were harmful to the lands and the people, and created dangerous conditions that continue today. Research underway. This claim is in the research phase with Joan Holmes and Associates contracted to do the work. Their researcher has requested all available government files and is waiting for these documents to be processed. The research may not be finished until 2026. So here's a little note here. Your experience matters. So this is for all of you who are sitting here. This is a question for you. If you have any memories or knowledge about military activities on Montreal Lake lands, please let us know. Your experiences and stories are an important part of this research and helps us build a strong claim. So this one, if you have any memories about some type of military activities, let us know. Myself, any council, we will be in contact with you regarding an interview. So because we need it documented properly on our end. So if you have any memories, please let us know. The next claim is a national parks claim. So Waskesiu, Prince Albert National Park. So one, initial research and submission completed. These portions of the claim have been completed and submitted to Canada. Number two, specific claims policy. Canada is taking to the position that this claim falls outside of the specific claims policy because it is not historical in nature and touches on aspects of ongoing rights. These are prohibited by the policy. Other First Nations were caught by this rule. Number three, ways to deal with this claim. We are investigating whether to add a TLE claim to this claim. Since the boundaries of the national park seem to have changed over time, another option is to litigate. A third option is to negotiate an arrangement directly with Parks Canada. Number four, what are the next steps for this claim? The First Nation will need to decide which course of action to take. Starting with the Lands Claims Committee, this will occur this month. So the lands are going to be meeting here, I believe, next week, the Lands Claims Committee. So now we have two potential new claims because there's with social media, we're able to see what other nations are doing, but also with networking, we're able to visit with other counselors and to see, well, what are they working on? How does that relate to us? So these are two new claims here. There's a Soldier Settlement Board claim. This claim examines whether Canada took up reserved lands for the purpose of settling returned veterans or used the band's trust monies to provide returned veterans with things that were supposed to be provided under the Veterans Land Act or Indian Act. Other nations have settled these types of claims. The other one that's a new claim that we're working towards is potential TLE claims for Little Red River and or Indian Reserve 106. We will be looking into whether the band is owed any reserve lands in Little Red or Montreal Lake. Other nations have settled these types of claims. So she has a note at the bottom. These are preliminary investigations and more research is needed to determine their viability. We intend to submit requests for research funding to Canada in January 2026. So I believe that's the end of our presentation. Yeah, that's the end of it. I have some questions here. Remember, I do not have all the answers. I am not a lawyer. I am a band counselor, but these questions will be directed to our band lawyer who can provide answers at a later time.
Thank you. We have Eliza Bird here. She's our band lawyer. In summary, we've heard many things past 2 days, and I want to thank the creator for bringing us here together safely and together. Next time, there's a lot of elders here today, lots of elders. Yesterday morning, I was really surprised to see a room full of elders. And that is great. That is great because you can catch these stories from these elders. They can tell you the changes that have happened the last 40, 50 years. There's been many changes. And they're still happening. They're still happening. So, you know, we've had these presentations, these claims, and those are good claims. If only we can get a copy of these claims, so that way we don't forget what was said, what was mentioned. We can pass that information on to other band members that need information like that. So, you know, that's my request. The other one is not a request, but I want to thank the leadership for all the work you've done. It's a lot of work. You get keep on as a leader. They try hard, do their best to help people, helping us out. Sometimes we do not appreciate it, but that's what they do. They try to help us out as much as they can. We don't have all the answers, but we're here. We're here to confront them, to talk to them, to ask them, to tell them this is what we want. I think we all know that cows and plows, if it ever comes, it's going to be a real challenge. It's going to be a real challenge dealing with our own people when it comes to misuse of money, I guess, drug money and all that business thing. And also how far ahead are we going to look at for the babies unborn and the children and the elders. You know, it's going to be a real challenge, lots of work. And that's why it's important to keep records. You have records. You get a report, produce a record, produce some documentation, some text work. But I'm thankful. I'm glad I made it here this morning. Yes, good morning as well. Nasumal, Niganyo. Thank you, leaders, chief of council.
So thank you for your comments and thank you everyone. Oh, we have another. Okay, I'll come to her.
I'm going to talk about that. But first of all, speaking Cree, that's my mother tongue. I remember when the army was around the Montreal area, they even did a few houses there for the recruits to gather. And all along before the old McLean's before all McLean's number yard was started there. They were already the military were there. I remember that because I used to be nosy. I had to go and investigate everything. And my mother told me, you're going to be picked up by the enemy people if you go stand in front of them and talk to them. I said, but they don't know how I speak. I speak in Cree or something. And anyway, that's how it was second time I got my brothers to come with me. So they were kind to us, the army people. But some of them were very gruff. And, oh yes. almost forgot about that. That's going on with the stuff that is hidden there. Oh, lots of either machinery, I think, or big parcels. They were tightly wrapped up. I remember that too. Quietly, I went home, I was scared. That was all I know. I didn't want to go there again. And they packed me up and shipped me out. I said to my mother, better find out that it's not good for you to be nosy, she said. So there was a lot of things I remember, but just slowly I forget, and then you come back in a flash. That's the time I should quickly write down when I remember everything. Anyway, all along old Jack Denton's place, so there was armies they were almost taking over the whole of Montreal Lake, the Montreal Lake. It was getting so that we were afraid to walk around on the roads. And somehow we all made it. Finally, the chief, I can't remember who the chief was. I think it was there's the James that was a chief. I did that, and when I remember I wrote them down and I gave them the choice, I was sad. That's all for now. That's all I can tell you for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those stories. So I'm really grateful that we had that recorded, and yeah, I want to say thank you for that. Do we have anything else that somebody wants to share? Anything? Are we all napping? Did we go into your elder nap time? I guess one thing before I finish off here, I do want to say, I want to mention something. Some of you, your grandkids were probably in foster care. I don't know that. But last week, those foster care payments started coming out. So each child that was in foster care after 1991 is eligible for $40,000. So last week, I know many people from Montreal Lake started receiving their $40,000. So our security and our RCMP have been very busy since then. We are getting told that, they're asking, can we get more security? So we're not even at cows and plows distribution, and we're already seeing things in the communities of, more security is needed. So in the future, there's going to be more that'll be coming in, because some just found out about these claims for foster care, and some just applied. But just so you're aware, if you're wondering, why so-and-so has this much money out of nowhere, it is because foster care claims payments started last week. And some are still coming out in every other day, so. That's everything. I'm done talking. It was really nice hanging out with you guys this afternoon, and thank you for listening to me. Like I said.
I have to tease Carol. She's not telling the truth. She said, if you're wondering where they're getting their money from, Carol is campaigning. I'm just kidding. Anyways, those presentations that were done this morning and for this afternoon, they were excellent presentations. I just want to mention, I don't know if I should say this or not, they probably didn't go through the board of the public channels, but there is a need at, where I work at the needle store, I mentioned earlier, there is a need to expand. There's a need at the needle store. People are utilizing the store, our members, our people, are using the store a lot. And I mentioned we have about 24, 25 staff, so we need to expand. And I think one of the things that I want to present to the board, to Needle Store board, and to MLBB, is I think we need to lay out a plan. I know one of our board members, Stephen, talks about a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, but I think for the next 5 years, I think we plan to build a new Needle Store in Montreal. I think it's needed. And we have a growing population. Our community is growing, and business is growing, and it's no different with Needle Store. We need to plan ahead and build a store that's going to last for years to come, as the one that was built back in the 80s, and that's the current building we have right now. So there's a need to expand. So I just wanted to mention that, and again, thank you to all the presenters. I'm not sure what we have next for presentation. Gerald, we have a break, 10-minute break. Is that good? 10-minute break, everybody? So you only have 10 minutes or go from a muscle now. So 10 minutes, we'll come back and we'll have some workshops, some crafts, arts and crafts, and some other stuff happening. So Billy wants to play home. Hang on a second. We'll have a break right now.